She allegedly brought security to her own grandmother's funeral. And according to her sister, that wasn't even the strangest part of the day. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you're going to have a lot of questions. Welcome back to Celeb Spill, where the tea is never lukewarm. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button, because today's story is a lot, and I mean a lot. Before we get into it, I want to be upfront with you. Everything you're about to hear comes from Brianna's own live stream, in her own words. We weren't there. We didn't witness it firsthand. So we're not here to tell you what to believe. We're here to lay it all out, clip by clip, and let you make up your own mind. So here's a question to sit with. Would you ever bring security to your own grandmother's funeral? Because according to Brianna, that's exactly what allegedly happened. Security. A blocked family member. And a funeral that reportedly turned into something nobody in that family expected. Let's break down what allegedly happened piece by piece, because there's a lot to unpack here. Now, here's where it gets interesting, and honestly, a little confusing. You'd assume security at an event like this would be standard, maybe for privacy, maybe for crowd control, since we are talking about a public figure. But according to Brianna, that's not what the security was there for at all. She claims it was specifically there to stop one family member, their cousin Shalita, from coming inside to say her goodbyes to their grandmother. If that's true, that's not security. That's control. And that distinction matters because it changes the entire story. Now, Brianna said a lot on that live stream. Like, a lot. But here's a small taste of what she said before we dive into the full context.
And she got mad because I told her ass, bitch, that's weird. Shalita, bitch, that's our great granny. That's Shalita granny. Shalita didn't have no relationship with great granny. Says the fuck who, bitch? Shalita almost 20 years older than us. Who the fuck is us? Great grandkids to sit up there and say who the fuck had a relationship with who? And it's a funeral, bitch.
We'll come back to that in a second. But first, let's talk about what Brianna says actually led up to this moment, because context matters here. According to Brianna, this disagreement wasn't really about the funeral itself. It went deeper than that. She claims that money has always played a complicated role in how relationships work within this family. In her words, she said Claressa tries to buy people's loyalty and respect, and that she personally refused to keep accepting flights paid for by her sister because she said she didn't want to feel like she was being controlled by it. Now, to be fair, and I think this matters, Brianna did admit on that same live that Claressa has financially supported her and her kids over the years. She wasn't denying that at all. What she said she couldn't tolerate was something else entirely. Being told she couldn't speak her mind, being told she couldn't disagree without consequences. And here's something worth mentioning. This apparently isn't the first time someone close to Claressa has stepped back after a disagreement. Some fans online have pointed to a pattern. Whether that's actually a pattern or just how normal family relationships sometimes go is honestly up to you to decide. But here's what makes this particular fallout feel different. Brianna has publicly gone back and forth with Claressa before, more than once actually, and in the past, she came back and apologized every time. This time, based on what she said on that live stream, there was no apology in sight. She sounded done, at least for now. That's a shift. And when someone who usually comes back suddenly doesn't, that's worth paying attention to.
Girl, no, she not mad I didn't fight Shalita. She only brought me to fight Shalita. Because, you know, I don't give a fuck about going to jail for no fucking 72 hours. But like the fuck I said, she didn't even present the fucking opportunity. She had her dusty ass fucking security guard telling Shalita that Shalita couldn't come in the goddamn thing, couldn't come in the fucking funeral home and see Granny. And she got mad because I told her ass, bitch, that's weird. Shalita, bitch, that's our great granny. That's Shalita granny. Shalita didn't have no relationship with great granny. Says the fuck who, bitch? Shalita almost 20 years older than us. Who the fuck is us? Great grandkids to sit up there and say who the fuck had a relationship with who? And it's a funeral, bitch. And if you really, girl, No, she not mad I didn't fight Shalita.
So that's Brianna, in her own words, unfiltered. Now here's where a lot of people online started drawing their own conclusions. Some pointed out that Claressa has spoken publicly multiple times about not being afraid of confrontation, about being able to handle herself in any situation. But according to Brianna's account, when it came to an actual family disagreement, it was security that handled things, not Claressa directly. Now that could mean a lot of different things, honestly. It could be caution. It could be about optics. It could be something else entirely that we don't have full context on. We're not here to tell you which one it is, just laying out what was said and letting you connect the dots yourself. Here's something that connects a few dots though, and this is where it gets interesting. Remember that rummage sale that got some attention online a few weeks ago? At the time, a lot of people online joked about it, made memes, didn't think much of it beyond that. But according to Brianna, security and travel costs for this entire trip apparently weren't small. And some fans have speculated online that the sale may have been a way to help cover some of those costs. Now, to be clear, that's speculation from fans, not a confirmed fact from either side. But the timing is interesting, to say the least. Let's get into the second clip Brianna shared, because this one adds even more context to what she was actually upset about that day.
Security guards up here blocking me, talking about some I can't come in. Claressa, Granny funeral is not your fight. Great Granny fucking funeral is not your motherfucking boxing match, bitch. Block that bitch from coming to your motherfucking fight, but how the fuck you gonna block her from going to her own fucking granny funeral? And she mad cause I said it. Security guards up here blocking me, talking about some I can't come in. Claressa, granny funeral is not your fight.
Now here's a detail that stood out to a lot of people watching this unfold in the comments. According to Brianna, there wasn't actually a preacher present at the funeral. Instead, she says Claressa spoke for about 7 minutes herself. To be clear here, families organize funerals in all kinds of different ways, and there's genuinely no single right way to grieve or run a service. Some families keep it simple. Some families let loved ones speak instead of clergy. That's not automatically wrong, but for a lot of viewers, the combination of hired security on one hand and apparently no preacher on the other struck them as an odd set of priorities for the day. Others in the comments pushed back and said, we don't actually know the full logistics. Maybe there were scheduling conflicts. Maybe it was a last-minute decision nobody could control. We genuinely don't know for sure. And I think that's important to say out loud instead of assuming the worst. Now, let's zoom out for a second, because I think this is bigger than just one funeral or one disagreement. According to some longtime fans who followed this family story for a while now, this feels like part of a bigger, repeating pattern. Brianna isn't the first person close to Claressa to reportedly step back after a falling out, and people online are already asking, only half jokingly, who might be next? Is that a fair read? Maybe. Maybe not. Family relationships are complicated in ways outsiders rarely fully understand. And right now, we're really only hearing one side of a much bigger story. And look, I want to say this clearly